David was a Hebrew teenager. He was shepherd to his father's sheep and goats, the son of Jesse. He was the youngest of 8 brothers. And you might remember David from a time when the prophet Samuel visited the family of Jesse, looking for the next king of Israel. And after rejecting all the sons, from oldest to the youngest, the prophet Samuel anointed David as future king. Now, some time has passed now, and David's father, Jesse, calls to him. David, come here, boy. I want you to take this grain and these loaves to your brothers at the camp, and give these cuts of cheese to their captain, and see how the boys are doing. Bring me word as soon as you can. Of course, Father, I will hurry back with a report. But do not worry. My brothers serve in the army of the living God. The Lord will give them the victory. Now, David would be visiting the army encampment of the Israelites, God's chosen people. He would visit his 3 oldest brothers, Eliab, Abinadab, and Shammah. Now, King Saul had mustered the troops to face the fierce Philistine army. So the next morning, David left his sheep in the care of another shepherd and set off for the camp. When he arrived, he noticed the troops were moving out to the battlefield with shouts and battle cries. Kill the Philistines! Long live King Saul! Blessed is the God of Israel! Well, David left his things with the keeper of supplies and ran out to find his brothers. Eliab, Abinadab, Shammah, I brought supplies, and Father wants to know how you're doing. Abinadab was the first to see David. Well, look who's here. Baby brother, come out to find how real men face the enemy. Shammah chimed right in. Hello, David. How are the widow Whams this morning? Not working you too hard, I hope. Oh, you guys, you think you're so tough? Why, just the other day, a lion was... And David stopped short because there was a commotion out on the battlefield. Who is that? Well, he must be 8 feet tall. They say he's 9 feet tall.
Yes, he is.
It was David's oldest brother, Eliab. His name's Goliath. He's the Philistine champion, and he comes out here every day, morning and night, for 40 days, issuing his challenge. Look at the size of that helmet. Is that armor bronze? Why, that armor alone must weigh as much as a man. Look at the size of that spear. I think it's as big as a fence post. Well, David marveled at this mammoth of a man, but he was shocked when he heard Goliath taunt the army of the Israelites. Why have you all come here to fight? I am Goliath, the Philistine champion. You are just servants of Saul. Send me one man who will fight me. And if he kills me, we will be your slaves. But if I kill him, you will be our slaves. I defy the army of Israel. Send me one man who will fight me. Well, Saul and the Israelites were terrified. But David asked in disbelief, who is this pagan Philistine who dares taunt the army of Israel? And what will a man get for killing him and ending this defiance? Well, the men around David answered, Saul has offered a great reward. He will give one of his daughters for a wife, and his whole family will be exempt from paying taxes. Well, David kept asking questions, and his older brother Eliab heard him. Are you still here? It's dangerous. Shouldn't you be home watching that scrawny flock of sheep? I know what you're up to. You've come down to see the sights and get a ringside seat at a bloody battle. What is with you? I just asked a question. David continued asking questions and talking with the men around him. And word of what David was saying got back to King Saul. And Saul sent for him. David stood before the king. Do not worry about this Philistine. I will fight him. Saul, weary from the standoff. Don't be ridiculous. You can never fight Goliath and win. you're too young and inexperienced. Well, Goliath has been at this battle business since before you were born. But David persisted. I have been shepherd to my father's sheep and goats, and when a lion or bear comes and takes away a lamb, I go after it, and I knock it down and rescue the lamb. And if it turns on me, I grab it by the throat and wring its neck, and I kill it. Lion or bear, it made no difference. I killed it. And I will do the same to this Philistine pig who dare taunts the army of Israel. The living God, the God who delivered me from the claws of the lion and the teeth of the bear, will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. Well, Saul consented. All right, go ahead, and the Lord be with you. But before Saul dismissed David to battle, he had him clothed in proper battle attire, Saul's very own armor, as a matter of fact. Perhaps he thought the weight of the situation would sink into the boy. Now, Saul was an imposing figure himself. He stood head and shoulders taller than anyone else in Israel. So when the armor bearers placed a mountain of armor on the boy from the hills of Bethlehem, they shot laughing looks back and forth at each other, and one of them even let out a snort when they placed the helmet on David's head, and it almost rested on his shoulders and covered his eyes. David tried to walk. He was nervous in the presence of these men. I can't wear this. I'm not used to it. And David heard the men burst into laughter as he left the tent in just his shepherd's cloak that he was used to. Now David went to a stream, and he chose 5 smooth stones. Great is the God of Abraham and Isaac. Great is the God of Israel. Great is the God of my father Jesse. The Lord is my strength and my salvation. The name of the Lord be praised. And he put them in his shepherd's bag. And with his shepherd's staff and his sling, he pushed his way through the Israelite army to the edge of the embankment. And he slid down the embankment on his heels like a kid at the skate park. And small and alone, David headed off across the valley of Elah to face the champion. Goliath saw him coming and sneered in contempt at this ruddy-faced boy. What am I, a dog, that you come at me with a stick? I'm going to turn you into roadkill for the buzzards. I'm going to make you a tasty morsel for the field mice. But David answered him, you come at me with sword and spear and battle axe. I come at you in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies, the God of Israel's troops. And this very day, God is handing you over to me. I'm going to kill you and cut off your head. And I'm going to serve your body and the bodies of your Philistine buddies up to the crows and coyotes. And the whole earth will know there is an extraordinary God in Israel. And all those gathered here today will learn that God does not save by the sword or the spear. The battle belongs to God, and he is giving you to us on a platter. That roused the giant. That roused the giant, and Goliath came at him full force. David quickly ran out to meet Goliath. He reached in his shepherd's bag, pulled out a stone into the sling, and hurled it at him. It hit Goliath square in the forehead, and it embedded in deep. And the giant crashed face down in the dirt. David had triumphed over Goliath with only a sling and a stone, for he had no sword. David ran over to the giant's body and stood over him, and he reached down and took the giant's sword and sword sheath and finished the job, cutting off his head. The Philistines, when they saw their champion dead, scattered and ran for their lives. Now the troops of Israel and Judah were on their feet shouting, and they came down into the valley in such a wave that David jumped atop the giant's body to keep from being swept away. And they chased those Philistines all the way back to their camp, and the bodies of Philistines were strewn all along the road. When David returned from the battle, the commander of the army brought him before King Saul. And bathed in sweat and dust from the battlefield, David took the head of the giant and dropped it at the king's feet. Master, the living God has given us the victory. The word of the Lord.